Oh yeah, I know this film came out a while ago, but it's January, films are about to go way downhill again, and award season is coming up, so I decided I'm going to talk about some films that I don't think got that much attention in 2017, so let's talk about The Florida Project.
Magic castles, Amber. Yeah, sure do. $38 a night.
Okay, I warned you. One drip and you're out.
Oh, come on!
Out now.
It's gonna melt outside.
It's melting inside, too.
But Bobby,
Out.
Thank you very much.
you're not welcome!
The Florida Project, plot of this movie, it's about a 6-year-old named Mooney who lives in a budget motel called the Magic Castle in Florida and right near Disney World, and yeah, that's basically just the plot of the movie. It's just how she essentially spends her day-to-day life. That's the plot of the film. Let's get into the good and bad of this film. So the good, let's just say it how it is. Brooklyn Prince as the main girl Mooney. I mean, Jesus, this actress I think was 6 years old when she shot this film, and she carries this film. A 6-year-old carries an entire movie, and because I don't think there's barely a scene in this film that she's not in or is the focus of in every scene. And, like, the whole film is from her perspective, and she really has to sell it. This is completely a film that rests on her shoulders, and she's just excellent. She just perfectly just sells every emotion she has to feel, just whether it's just wonder or happy or just complete despair and misery. She just sells it, and it's incredible, because once again, she's 6-year-old. This is a 6-year-old giving one of the best performances of 2017. How crazy of an idea is that? And it's just also so great. She also does such a good job since this film's from her perspective, and since she's a kid, she has a very kind of flowery, romanticized look at the world. So it's always effective anytime the reality of the situation, because she basically lives on she's right on the poverty line and what her mother's doing to make money. Anytime that reality starts crashing into, like, her perspective of the world, it is always incredibly tragic, just so you can always tell, like, she doesn't seem to have a full understanding what's going on at the moment, and it is incredibly effective, incredibly heartbreaking, and once again, this girl is only 6 years old. But it's not just Brooklyn Prince who's great in this film. Willem Dafoe, he gives probably the performance of his career in this film. He plays the manager of the motel they live in, and yeah, I know Willem Dafoe is usually known for his more intense and more unpleasant roles or just goofy roles. Like, I always stand by. He can actually be a very heartwarming actor for the most part, and he's great in this film because, yeah, like, considering what his job is, considering, like, you see all this shit he has to deal with on a daily basis to keep this place up and running, his face does work for having such a look of pain and anguish to it. Like, there was someone in my audience who mentioned at one point when there's a shot from the back of his, like, does that man have wrinkles on the back of his neck? And it works because, yeah, this man would just have just such wear and tear to his face, just considering what he has to deal with, and it is great, but you can also tell at the same time just the pain and like, how miserable he feels, like, anytime he has to be a hard-ass to any of his tenants, because you can tell how much he really does care about them and their well-being. He knows that basically this is all the only place they can really go, and he just tries his best to be nice and kind to them, and anytime, like I said, anytime, like, the reality of what happens to some of these people, like, hits, like, you can tell just how much it does, like, upset him, like, it does pain him what's going on at the moment. Like, his last scene in the movie, I did find those, like, the most heartbreaking part of the film, and yeah, Willem Dafoe is just truly excellent in this. And besides the cast, though, just the really best thing about this film is it is just such a fascinating look at a part of the Florida population I had no idea existed until this film. I had no idea there is actually this part of the Florida population who just lives in the budget motels in Florida, and it is always such a weird feeling because you're constantly being reminded they are literally right down the street from Disney the entire film. Like, they don't ever talk about it, but you can constantly see references to it. Like, you see they live on Seven Dwarfs Lane. Like, there's a part where they're watching fireworks, you can tell it's the ones being shot at the Magic Castle, and It is incredibly effective, just knowing that in the middle of all this wealth and tourism, because it's Disney World, like, there is just all this poverty right in the middle of it, and that I had no idea existed, so it is just such a fascinating look at a part of the U.S. population. I had just, like I said, I had no idea this existed. As far as negatives go to this film, really, there's only two main problems with this. One, it could meander a bit, this film. Like, I really wish this film was just a tight 90 minutes. If it was, that would have been just perfect in my opinion. Like, there's like 15 minutes, because this is very much a slice of life movie where there's not really that much of a plot throughout. It's kind of just how the main characters living their life day to day. And yeah, there's a few scenes which I'm just like, yeah, you didn't have to have that vignette in there. You could have just easily cut it out. Because if this was 90 minutes, I think this would have been a perfect runtime for this film. But my real big problem with this movie, when I heard what this film was about, my only thought was, let me guess how this movie ends right now. And yeah, that's how it ends. The ending is incredibly predictable. If you're thinking, I wonder with this setup where it's gonna end, probably the first thing your brain goes to, yes, that is exactly how the movie ends. So just know that walking in, the ending is nothing that spectacular. So to summarize my thoughts on the Florida Project, the good Brooklyn Prince, Willem Dafoe, and it is just such an interesting look at a part of the U.S. I don't think most people know exists, really. As far as bad goes, it could meander a bit, and it's an obvious ending, and that's why I'm giving the Florida Project a very solid 9 out of 10. One of the best indies of the year, such a fantastic slice of life film, and so if you like slice of life movies, I'd say, yeah, definitely go watch this. It's a really fascinating one. So, YouTube, as always, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.